What if I told you that the biggest breakthroughs in your life won't come from one giant leap, but from the smallest steps you take each morning? Let that sink in, because for most of us, we're taught to chase the big wins, to hustle harder, to wait for that magical moment of motivation, to believe that success only comes when we go all in, full force, all the time. But the truth is, that mentality is exactly what burns people out. That mindset convinces you that if you don't wake up and crush your goals every single day, then you're failing. But here's the truth. Nobody told you. It's not the intensity, it's the consistency. You don't need to move mountains every day. You just need to move an inch forward. That's the law of small steps, and it's the most powerful, most overlooked principle of success. This video isn't about giving you another high-pressure morning routine you can't stick to. It's not about shaming you into waking up at 4 a.m. and grinding yourself into exhaustion. It's about something deeper. It's about reclaiming your mornings as sacred. It's about choosing one small action each day that aligns with who you want to become. Because the real change, the permanent change, doesn't happen when you try to flip your whole life overnight. It happens when you take one small, simple, intentional step every morning. And you don't even need to feel motivated to do it, because small steps aren't about feeling inspired. They're about building momentum, even on the days you feel stuck, tired, or unsure. Think about it. What would your life look like if you woke up each day and did just one thing that made you stronger? One thing that fed your purpose? One thing that brought clarity instead of chaos? That's what we're diving into today. In this video, we'll uncover how tiny actions anchored into your mornings can lead to massive long-term results. We'll explore how consistency builds confidence, how small wins rewire your brain, and why the little habits you build when no one's watching shape the future everyone eventually sees. This isn't hype. This is strategy. This is about breaking free from overwhelm by shrinking the task. This is about learning how to win your day before the world even wakes up. If you're tired of starting and stopping, if you're done waiting for perfect timing, and if you're ready to finally feel progress every day, even in the smallest ways, then lean in. Because today, we unlock the method to build the life you dream of, one small step at a time. Let's begin. The secret power hidden in small steps. We live in a world that celebrates big moves, big achievements, big transformations. And while there's nothing wrong with chasing bold goals, there's one truth that often gets overlooked. It's not the giant leaps, but the small, consistent steps that change your life. This is the foundation of the law of small steps. It's the simple, powerful idea that success is not about one-time intensity, but about daily intentionality. Every massive breakthrough you admire began with a small habit. Every transformation you respect was born from a simple choice, made over and over again. Let that sink in. You don't need to climb the entire mountain today. You just need to take one step. Because here's the magic. That single, seemingly insignificant step, when done consistently, it builds momentum. It builds discipline. It builds an identity. And identity is where real change happens. When you start your morning with one positive action, just one, your brain receives a signal that says, I'm in control today. I'm not just reacting, I'm choosing. And when you make a conscious choice, you shift from living by default to living by design. Maybe that step is waking up 10 minutes earlier. Maybe it's drinking a glass of water before anything else. Maybe it's journaling one thought or stretching for 2 minutes or reviewing your goals. It doesn't have to be dramatic. It just has to be consistent. You see, the law of small steps is not about doing everything. It's about doing something every single day, especially in the morning. Because the morning is when your mind is most open, your energy is most pure, and your choices set the tone for the rest of your day. Think of it like planting seeds. One small action each morning is like dropping a seed into the soil. You won't see growth overnight, but give it time, stay consistent, tend, and those tiny seeds bloom into results you once thought were impossible. That's why the first step of the day matters so much. It's not just about productivity, it's about ownership. Taking small steps early in the day gives you a sense of control in a world that tries to steal it. And the more you own your morning, the more you own your life. So don't wait for motivation to strike. Don't wait for the perfect plan or the perfect mood. Start with what you have. Start where you are. And take one small step. Today, tomorrow, and the next day. Because those steps, they may seem small, but they hold the power to build a breakthrough. Your morning defines your momentum. Let's talk about momentum. Momentum is the invisible force that makes everything in your life easier or harder. When you have it, tasks feel lighter, progress feels smoother, and confidence grows. But when you don't, even the smallest things feel overwhelming. And do you know where momentum begins? In the morning. Your first hour sets the tone for the next 23. It decides how you show up to your goals, your relationships, your mindset, your day. That's why successful people across every industry protect their mornings with discipline, because they understand that if you win the morning, you win the day. The most dangerous thing you can do is start your day in chaos, scrolling, rushing, reacting. When you begin your day on someone else's terms, through your phone, through social media, through the world's demands, you immediately fall into a reactive mindset. You're not leading your life, you're responding to it. But when you start with a small intentional action, everything shifts. You anchor yourself, you take command of your energy, you move from reactive to proactive, even if it's just 10 minutes of stillness, even if it's a short walk, even if it's one journal entry, one affirmation, one deep breath. Those small choices tell your mind, I am in charge of how this day goes. Momentum doesn't require a full hour-long routine. It doesn't require perfection. It requires presence. The key is consistency, doing a few key things each morning that align you with your values and your goals. You don't need a miracle morning. You need a mastered morning. A morning where you show up for yourself before the world comes knocking. Because how you start influences everything, from how you think to how you respond to challenges later in the day. And guess what? You don't have to wake up at 4 a.m. You just have to wake up for you. Yourself, instead of immediately giving your attention to everything and everyone else. Because when you choose you first thing in the morning, your growth, your peace, your purpose, you build momentum that carries you all day long. You approach your work differently. You speak to others differently. You think, create, move, and respond from a place of intention, not pressure. That's the power of owning your morning. It's not about being busy, it's about being centered. And once you feel the difference, you'll never go back to waking up by default. So ask yourself, how are you starting your mornings? Are you leading your life or reacting to it? Because if you want to build big breakthroughs, it starts with building morning momentum, one small intentional step at a time. Why small wins rewire your mind for success? Most people wait for big moments to feel proud. They wait for the promotion, the perfect body, the huge paycheck. They believe that success is something you chase, something you achieve someday. But here's the truth that changes lives. Small wins today create the mindset that makes big wins inevitable. You see, your brain is always watching you. Every action you take or avoid becomes a message to your subconscious, and that message becomes your identity. When you hit snooze, skip your goals, or delay your responsibilities, your brain hears, I can't count on myself. But when you show up just a little, when you drink that glass of water, write that one line, do that 5-minute workout, your brain hears, I follow through. I'm reliable. I'm building something. And that self-perception becomes your foundation. This is why small wins are so powerful, because they're not just tasks, they're proof, evidence that you're capable, that you're focused, that you're in motion. Think of your mindset like a bank. Every small win is a deposit. Over time, those deposits build confidence, belief, and drive. The best part? You don't need a perfect morning to do this. You just need one win, then another, then another. Eventually, those small wins compound and form habitual excellence. Here's a truth successful people understand. How you do the little things is how you do everything. If you can show up for a 5-minute commitment every morning, you build the discipline to show up for a 50-minute one later. If you can follow through on your own goals, even when no one is watching, you begin to trust yourself. And self-trust is the foundation of everything. Because when you trust yourself, you don't second-guess your path. You move with quiet confidence. You don't wait for the world to give you permission. You give it to yourself. That's what small wins create. They silence the inner critic. They build momentum. They prove that success isn't about luck or genius. It's about showing up, even when it's inconvenient. And you don't need to win big today. You just need to win small, consistently. Because those small victories don't just change your day. They change your identity. They transform you from someone who wishes to someone who works. From someone who hopes to someone who builds. So ask yourself each morning, what's one small win I can claim today before the world interrupts? And then go get it. Because success doesn't begin in the spotlight. It begins in the quiet moments of discipline when no one is watching. And in those small wins, you are becoming unstoppable. The compound effect, tiny inputs, massive outcomes. Here's a truth that's often forgotten in our instant gratification world. Success is rarely one giant leap. It's the result of small efforts compounded over time. This is the compound effect, where consistent, small actions build upon one another, growing stronger and more powerful with every repetition. You don't always feel the change day to day. You don't always see the impact after 1 week. But give it time, because time is the amplifier of everything you do. Imagine dropping a single drop of water onto a stone. It seems insignificant, right? Now imagine that same drop hitting the same spot every day for a year, 5 years, a decade. Eventually, it begins to leave a mark, then a dent, and finally, it cracks the stone completely. Not because the water was strong, but because it was consistent. Your actions are no different. Waking up 10 minutes earlier, reading 1 page a day, speaking 1 kind word to yourself each morning. These might feel too small to matter, but compounded daily, they become the building blocks of a transformed life. Most people don't fail because they lack talent or ambition. They fail because they underestimate the power of staying the course. They look at others' success and say, "She got lucky," or "He had a breakthrough." What they don't see is the mountain of tiny, invisible steps that led to that moment. They don't see the quiet mornings, the daily disciplines, the small sacrifices made in silence. But that's the compound effect in action. And here's the thing. The compound effect works both ways. Every positive choice you make, no matter how small, builds momentum toward your goals. But every negative choice, every skipped habit, every "I'll do it tomorrow," also compounds, just in the wrong direction. You're always building something. The question is, are you build it? Strength or weakness? Are you building clarity or confusion? Are you building power or procrastination? Every morning you have a choice. Will today be another drop in the bucket that fills your future with purpose and progress? Or will it be a missed opportunity? One more silent vote for staying stuck. You don't need to overhaul your life overnight. That's not how lasting change works. You just need to keep showing up, especially when it feels pointless. Because that's when the compound effect starts to kick in. That's when progress becomes exponential. And that's when your identity shifts from someone who starts to someone who finishes. So trust the process, honor the pace, and never forget, small steps taken consistently, especially in the morning, don't just move you forward. They transform everything. Morning resistance and how to beat it. Let's be honest. Mornings are hard. Even the most driven people feel resistance when the alarm goes off. That warm bed whispers to you. Your brain negotiates. Just 10 more minutes. And before you know it, you've slipped back into comfort. You've delayed the day before it even begins. This isn't laziness. This is resistance. And resistance shows up strongest at the start of your day, when your willpower is fragile, your energy is low, and the pool of habit is strong. But here's the truth you need to hear. You don't have to feel motivated to win your morning. You just have to move. That's it. Because movement kills resistance. Action silences the internal debate. You don't need to get up and run 5 miles. You just need to sit up, put your feet on the floor, take 1 deep breath. That tiny motion tells your brain, we're doing this. The hardest part of any routine is the beginning. But once you start, even if you feel half asleep, momentum takes over. You start brushing your teeth. You start pouring your water. You stretch, you breathe, you begin. And suddenly the resistance is gone. Why? Because resistance only lives in the mind. It thrives on hesitation, on delay, on mental loops. But the moment you act, you prove to yourself, I'm in control today. That's why morning routines don't need to be complicated. They need to be repeatable, sustainable, non-negotiable. You build that by overcoming resistance at the source, the first minute of your day. Here's a strategy that works. Set the intention the night before. Decide exactly what your first step will be. No questions, no decisions in the morning, just execution. Keep it small. Your first action should be so simple it's hard to fail. Drink a glass of water. Open your journal. Step outside. Repeat it daily. Consistency builds habit. Habit kills rest. Resistance. Remember this. Resistance isn't personal. It's not a sign you're weak or broken. It's just your comfort zone defending its territory, but your purpose is stronger than your comfort. Your vision is more important than an extra hour of sleep, and your growth demands discipline, not perfection, just commitment. So the next time that alarm rings and your mind says not today, respond with action. Sit up, stand up, start. Because beating resistance in the morning is the first victory of the day, and that small win echoes forward into every other decision you make. You'll show up different, you'll think clearer, you'll feel empowered, not because the day is easy, but because you took command of it. Every big goal starts with a small morning win, and every win starts with beating resistance one choice at a time. Anchor habits that create stability. Success doesn't come from chaos, it comes from structure. And when your mornings are structured, even just slightly, your days become more focused, productive, and meaningful. That's where anchor habits come in. Anchor habits are the small, foundational rituals that keep your day grounded. Think of them as the roots of a tree. You might not always see them, but they hold everything up. When life gets chaotic, anchor habits keep you steady. When motivation fades, these habits keep you moving forward automatically. They don't have to be complex. In fact, the simpler, the better. You might start with making your bed, drinking a full glass of water, stretching for 2-3 minutes, writing down 3 things you're grateful for, reviewing your top 1-3 goals for the day. Individually, each of these actions may seem small, but together they create mental clarity, a sense of accomplishment, and an immediate shift into purpose. Why do they matter so much? Because habits shape identity, and anchor habits shape identity fast. Every time you repeat one, your brain gets the message: I'm organized, I'm intentional, I take care of myself, I'm building something. These aren't just behaviors, they're self-affirming beliefs, and those beliefs become your reality. Let's go deeper. Making your bed? It tells your mind the day has begun. Order has been created. Drinking water? It energizes your body and tells it, you matter. Writing down goals or gratitude? It aligns your thoughts with positivity and direction, blocking negativity before it can settle in. You're not reacting, you're anchoring. And here's the beautiful thing. Once these habits are in place, they act as triggers. One good action leads to the next. You start with water, and you naturally choose a healthier breakfast. You start with intention and you stay off your phone. Anger. One action stacks on the next until your entire day feels aligned. Anchor habits eliminate the decision fatigue that weighs people down. You're not waking up and wondering what to do, And that alone builds confidence. You see, discipline doesn't have to feel like punishment. It can feel like peace. Because when you start your day with a clear rhythm, you reduce stress, anxiety, and internal noise. You create a space where your goals can breathe. And even on the hard days, when emotions are high or motivation is low, these anchor habits remind you of your path. They remind you of who you are. They create stability in the storm. So choose your anchors, keep them simple, make them sacred, and repeat them until they become part of you. Because when your morning has anchors, your life has direction, and direction is what leads to breakthroughs. The 1% rule: show up slightly better every day. If there's one principle that quietly builds champions, it's this. Get 1% better every day. Not 100%, not perfect, not overnight, just 1% better. This is the mindset behind the 1% rule. A principle that rewires how you chase growth and measure success. Because when you commit to tiny improvements instead of huge overnight changes, something powerful happens. You sustain your momentum. Let's break it down. Imagine you improve by just 1% every single day. By the end of 1 year, you'll be 37 times better than where you started. Not because of a radical transformation, but because of consistent, small progress that compounds. And here's the truth. Success isn't loud. It's not about big declarations. It's not about showing off your goals to the world. It's about what you're doing in the quiet when no one's watching. That's where 1% gains are made. The beauty of the 1% rule is that it takes away the pressure to be perfect. You don't have to do it all today. You just have to do a little more than you did yesterday. Think about it. Yesterday you wrote 1 page. Today, write 1 and a paragraph. Yesterday you meditated for 3 minutes. Today go for 4. Yesterday you walked half a mile. Today walk 10 extra steps. It's not about pushing to the limit. It's about proving to yourself, I can keep showing up. Small gains make room for grace. They remove the fear of failure because each day is a fresh chance to make incremental progress. And progress, not perfection, is how transformation happens. The 1% mindset is powerful because it also changes how you see setbacks. When you fail under the all or nothing mindset, you quit. But under the 1% rule, failure is just feedback. A bad day doesn't undo your growth. It just means tomorrow you try again and aim for 1%. Over time, these tiny shifts become habits. Habits become identity. And identity becomes destiny. You won't even realize how far you've come until one day you look back and think, I'm not who I used to be. And it won't be because you changed your whole life in a week. It will be because you showed up 1% at a time. So ask yourself each morning, what's one small way I can show up better today? And trust this. That small step you take today may feel invisible, but it is laying the foundation for everything you've ever dreamed of. Consistency compounds. 1% adds up. And you are getting better than yesterday. Trust the process. Your breakthrough is brewing, let's be real. There will be mornings when you question everything. You'll wonder if it's even worth it. You'll ask, is this really making a difference? You'll look around and see no results, just repetition. But let me tell you something that could change everything. Your breakthrough is brewing right now, even if you can't see it yet. That's what trusting the process is all about. It's about showing up, even when the results are delayed. It's about building in the dark, planting seeds without knowing exactly when they'll bloom. It's about believing in the long game while everyone else is chasing shortcuts. Too many people quit right before the shift. They give up because they can't measure the progress yet. But growth doesn't always come with fanfare. Sometimes it comes quietly, in the early mornings when you choose discipline over distraction, in the moments when you could quit but don't, in the choices no one claps for, but that reshape your future. Every time you rise early and take that small step, you're laying a brick. Brick by brick, you're building a version of you that can handle more responsibility, more peace, more purpose, more success. And here's what most people miss. Breakthroughs aren't created in a single moment. They are the result of every small step, stacked and solidified over time. Your dream isn't on hold. It's loading, it's brewing, it's becoming more real with every ounce of discipline you show today. But you've got to trust it. You've got to believe that just because you don't see the reward yet, doesn't mean it's not coming. Think about the bamboo tree. For the first 5 years, it doesn't grow above the ground, not an inch. But underneath, it's building roots that can support something massive. Then in a matter of weeks, it grows up to 90 feet. Now ask yours. Elf, are you building roots or just chasing surface level wins? Because the deeper your foundation, the greater your rise. When you stay faithful to the process, you're not just preparing for a result, you're becoming the person worthy of it. The person who can sustain it, the person who didn't skip steps, who didn't chase quick wins, but who built it with grit, intention, and faith. So here's the truth. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to rush. You don't have to prove anything to anyone. You just have to keep walking. One small step each morning. One act of alignment. One quiet decision to not give up. Because your breakthrough, it's not ahead of you. It's being built by you right now. And soon, the world will see what you've known all along. You were never stuck. You were just preparing for something greater. You made it to the end of this message, and that says something powerful about you. It says you're ready to stop chasing change in chaotic bursts. You're ready to trade overwhelm for ownership. You're ready to embrace the idea that small, consistent steps, not massive, unsustainable moves, are what actually create breakthroughs that last. And here's the greatest truth of all. Your transformation has already begun. Not when you hit some big milestone, not when the world starts noticing, but now, in this moment, in the quiet decision you're making to show up, just a little more intentionally each morning. You don't need a perfect plan. You don't need more motivation. You need motion. Forward, focused, simple motion. One small step each morning, repeated with consistency. That's how you move from stuck to strong, from doubting yourself to trusting your path, from hoping for a better future to building it piece by piece, habit by habit. Think back to everything we covered. Your mornings create your momentum. Your small wins rewire your mindset. The compound effect transforms invisible actions into visible results. Resistance doesn't mean stop. It means you're close to growth. Anchor habits ground your energy when life gets chaotic. And the 1% rule, that's your secret weapon to keep showing up without burning out. This is your blueprint. This is your moment to stop waiting for the perfect conditions and start trusting the process. Because the world doesn't need more people chasing temporary motivation. It needs more people willing to master the small, to master their mindset, their mornings, their micro decisions. You don't have to leap, you just have to lean forward. You just have to believe that progress, even when it's invisible, is still happening. And if you ever find yourself tempted to quit, to fall back into old patterns, just remember, Greatness is not built in explosions, it's built in repetitions. It's built every time you choose to rise with purpose, even when you don't feel like it, especially when you don't feel like it. So don't just watch this message and move on. Act on it. Before tomorrow even begins, decide tonight. What will be my first small step in the morning? Then honor it, repeat it, build upon it. Because your mornings aren't just part of your day. They are the launchpad of your entire life. One step. One choice, one shift at a time. Start small, stay consistent, build big. Your breakthrough doesn't begin someday. It begins the moment you stop underestimating your next small step. Let today be that moment.